up tonight's PBA doubleheader with our sports desk correspondent, Paolo Del Rosario. Paolo now joins us live from the Mall of Asia Arena. Paolo?
Charles, the San Miguel Beermen and the Magnolia Hotshots are the first two teams in the PBA Philippine Cup semifinals after taking advantage of their twice-to-beat edge. Junmar Fajardo was unstoppable for the Beermen, finishing with a double-double of 35 points and 11 rebounds. Now, it was also a special win for San Miguel head coach Leo Austria, whose wife had a kidney transplant earlier today. Now, after saying a few words about his wife, Austria thanked his players for getting the 106-93 victory. Austria also paid tribute to Junmar Fajardo's focus, but Junmar says it's all about the help that he got from his teammates. Here are Coach Leo and Junmar Fajardo.
This is the hardest game we ever had against Talk and Text dahil they've been into 2 knockout games and then lahat tinambakan nila. And I'm really worried with this game, but I have to give credit to the boys, especially Junmar Fajardo. He was so focused in this game.
Kasi hinahanap ako ng mga teammates ko, parang hinahanap nila. So, kailangan kong mag-provide. So, thankful ako sa kanila. So, credit din sa mga teammates ko, nag-step up talaga sila.
Now, in the second game, the Magnolia Hotshots had to overcome a 20-point deficit to put away the Global Port Batang Beer. Now, they survived Global Port, 86-79. Magnolia head coach Chito Victorero admits that they were thoroughly outclassed in the first half, but he was happy that they had the entirety of the second half to correct it.
Outplayed nila kami in the first half, and good thing we have a second half to recover. Credit to my team. It's an team effort, it's a total team effort. Credit to our defense on the second half.
Now, as you mentioned, the Beermen now await the winners of the Ginebra and the Rain or Shine Alaska Painter Series, while Magnolia will now wait for the winners of the Alaska and NLEX Series. Charles?
Well, Paolo, you could see in that interview with Coach Leo how emotional he was about this game. I mean, what was the mood after? Did the players dedicate or offer this game up to him? I mean, it looked like he was visibly just so touched with what happened in that game.
Well, I was talking to Junmar Fajardo after the game, after the press conference of Coach Leo, and he says the players just found out this morning, and they said that they wanted to dedicate the game to Coach Leo and his wife, and at that time they did not know whether the operation was a success or not, but I'm glad to tell you that the operation was a success, and Coach Leo was very thankful for that. Charles?
Okay, now, Paolo, let's talk about that game. Very emotional game. I mean, a lot of heated moments. There was an ejection for Mo Tautua. Arwin Santos eventually got ejected. What was it like out there, the atmosphere? Why was it so intense? Why was it so physical? Why did, emotions really flare up in that game?
Well, it was a battle for survival for TNT. They knew what was at stake, and they were fighting tooth and nail to try and survive against San Miguel Beermen. Now, the San Miguel Beermen also want to make sure that they get the win and make sure they have enough rest going into the next series. Now, this is especially important for them since they are the reigning and defending champions in the Philippine Cup. So it is something that both teams were really into. They were really passionate, and the tempers that were flaring, it was just a result of that passion. Charles?
But Paolo, what do you think was the biggest key for San Miguel in this game? How did they, overcome TNT? Because TNT played well. They even took the lead in the third quarter because, well, their offense was flowing a lot. Was it really just Junmar Fajardo? What was the key for San Miguel in this game?
Well, if you ask Junmar Fajardo, Junmar will say that his teammates kept on finding him and gave him those 35 points that he put up for the San Miguel Beermen. And truth be told, TNT barely had any answers to stop Junmar, especially with Mo going out of the game. They had no answer to the big man that is Junmar Fajardo. So despite playing well themselves, and TNT has been on a hot streak as of late, they had no answer to offensive firepower that San Miguel could bring out in the form of Junmar, even Arwind, and Marshall Laster later on in the game. Charles?
Oh yeah, Paolo, Junmar, well, he's the MVP for a reason. Now let's move on to the second game. Tale of two halves, really. Global Port was great in the first half. They led by as much as 20 points. What worked for them in the first half?
It was their aggression, definitely. Global Port were the more aggressive side. They're known for being a high-paced team, to be almost reckless when they go on offense, and that paid dividends in the first 2 quarters. Coach Chito Bicolera mentioned that they had no answers for that. They had an idea that they would be aggressive, but were not ready for the type of aggression that Global Port brought up in the first 2 quarters. Now, after a few adjustments, they banked on their defense. Magnolia decided to make sure that they would limit the Global Port offense in the last 2 quarters, and it really did happen, because in the 3rd quarter, Global Port only scored 14 points, which is a far cry from the 26 that they scored in the 1st quarter. So defense was the key for Magnolia. That was probably the biggest adjustment that they had to do in the 2nd half to get this victory over Global Port. Charles?
Okay, it's great that you mentioned the defense, but one interesting tidbit was that there was a bit of a flare-up or a scene between Coach Pido and Terrence Romoe. Can you tell us what exactly happened, and do you think that was a bit of a turning point in the game?
Well, for me, it was the boiling point of frustration, because the play right before that, Mark Baroka hits a 3-pointer to give Magnolia the lead over Global Port. Now, it could have been botched coverage.